Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 2022 webinar from the BCS Leicester Branch. This month we are delighted to welcome Kamal Paul from the XPO Group. He is a postgraduate from the University of Wales in information management. He holds an engineering degree in information technology and many cybersecurity qualifications, too many to list. He's worked at various different companies, including entertainment companies, so forth. Tonight he is going to give us a talk on Phish, or phishing, and how to build $1 million thick, which should prove to be a hopefully very interesting talk. So before I hand over to Kamal, could I ask that if you have any questions are absolutely welcome. If you could please enter them into the question box on GoToWebinar, and we will answer them at the end. So at that point, I'll hand over to Kamal, and yeah, look forward to the talk.
Right. Thank you, Glenn. Good evening, all. First of all, let me thank BCS for giving me an opportunity to talk on this topic. Right. Moving to the first slide. Right. So who am I? So myself, Kamal Paul. I work as a cybersecurity engineer for the XPO Group. My background is basically from BAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Usual disclaimer: the things that been taught in this webinar, if you learn and if you practice it without proper consent, let me make it clear, you will be in trouble. So always get proper permission before doing or using the tools and techniques that's been taught in this webinar. Right. So overview, we have a couple of topics to cover, starting with phishing psychology, followed by a demo. So I have structured the course in such a the webinar in such a way that the slides will be for around 30 minutes, and the last 15 minutes will be for a demo. Right. So starting with the first the first topic, what is phishing psychology? So phishing is considered as a social engineering attack. Means a kind of attack where the attacker is able to convince the victim in doing something that the victim is not intended to do, like running a malware on his system or giving out his username and password to the attacker. So phishing is usually a social engineering attack, and in this webinar we will be mainly concentrating on spear phishing. It's a kind of phishing attack where the attacker focuses only on a particular victim from a particular company. So this attack will be very targeted, and the spear phishing emails, if you have experience, usually the people within the corporate environment gets a lot of spear phishing emails. If you look at the pattern of those emails, we can see that those emails will be very highly personalized and well researched in the sense, I have seen emails where the content of the email has been the interest of the victim, like a victim who loves the cars has got email contents showing having the contents regarding the new cars coming out. So those kind of emails that are really highly targeted are called as spear phishing emails. So some of the going into the next weakness side of the phishing, basically the human emotions are the basic reasons behind the phishing, or why the people fall for the phishing. So like greed, confusion, concern, trust, ignore. These are some of the reasons why the people fall for the phishing. So if you the most common ones that we see are the greed. Like people usually get emails saying that you have a voucher of £50 or $50, and you can use it for free. So people for those kind of emails, usually the people just go for it. They will not check whether the email is from a from the right company or not. They just go for it. So that's one side, greed. And if you go for the confusion one, usually people within the corporate environment, for example, people within the accounts or finance team in the company usually get a lot of emails like this, like your purchase order has been approved, those kind of emails. So these kind of emails bring confusion on those people, and make them to do what they intend to do, like transferring of money or downloading a purchase order which is having some kind of malware attached to it. So this kind of things. So if you go in the trust concern, trust also forms the also forms the main reason. And the last one, ignorance, information overload. What I mean is, usually on the Monday mornings or in the Friday evenings, uh, people are busy, and they always they will not be looking at the whole content of the email. They just click the links, or they just open the whatever email they see, and just reply for everything. So uh, this ignorance, because of the information overload, has also been a reason behind the phishing. Phishing types, there are many types. There are the phishing type. The phishing has been described in many types, but these are the very common one: the exploit based, credential based, and BEC scam. So exploit based is where you get an email with an attachment. Those attachments will be mostly malicious attachments, malicious PDFs or malware documents. We also call as maldocs. Credential based or account takeover attacks, where a victim get an email with a link, which will be asking for some username and password. So that's the credential based, and then the credential base is the one that usually the people get a lot. BEC scam, business email compromise scams. These are one of the easy type of phishing, where the C-level executives are targeted, and it's easy to do, because there is no link, or there is no attachments within this kind of BEC phishing email. So it's easy money and easy to do. If you look at the right side, you can see some of the BEC scams that happened over the last few years, like the Puerto Rico government lost around 2.6 for the BEC scam, and also an organization within the San Francisco also lost like 6 million through the BEC scam. Right, some statistics. So a phishing activity trend. This is these stats have been from the last years. So if we can say that IBM threat intel report says that there has been a 5% increase in the phishing activity, and this is increasing every year, like 5-6% increase is seen in every year. The second Tessian research, they have a report on the same, saying that every employee within a corporate environment receives at least 14 malicious emails. And Cisco's threat report for last years says that 86% of the people within 86% of the organizations have clicked a phishing email. So that's the activity trend. And by industry wise, if you look at the chart, we can see that the finance industry is the one more that's been most targeted, followed by the web mail and the SaaS. And also at the bottom we can see the cryptocurrency industry. That's the one that we are seeing a lot of phishing activity during the last 2-3 years. Why million? So the main reason behind the $1 billion loss because of the phishing is these basic reasons, like the loss of employees, the remediation, instant response. These are some of the main reasons why this much of money is lost for a phishing attack. Last year's BEC scam, not last year's 2020's BEC scam, according to the FBI's internet crime report, says that around 1.8 billion was lost. So it's again not in million, it's billion. And again, if you look at the average cost of a breach caused by phishing, it's around 4.6 million. So not in hundreds or thousand, again in million. If you look at the chart, we can see that the top infection vectors has been because of the phishing, has been because of the phishing. That's around 41%. And when I say infection vectors, things like ransomware or things like spywares all comes under the all gets happen because of the phishing, cybercrime and phishing. So the phishing forms a major part of the cybercrime because this phishing is what which delivers the initial attack, like initial attack in the sense, if you look at the cyber kill chain, people who are not familiar with the cyber kill chain, it's like a theoretical framework where the attackers a step-by-step process by which an attacker does the attack. So like there's around 7 steps in this cyber kill chain, like starting with reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, ending with action objective. So we can see in the third stage, delivery. This is the stage where our phishing comes in. So phishing is the one which does the delivery of the or the initial attack vector starts with the phishing. So this phishing plays a major role in most of the cyber attacks. Again, if you go into some of the surveys, we can see that last year's dark reading survey says that 50%, 51% of the data breaches happened because of the phishing, and also Veritas report also points out the same, saying that 91% of ransomware infection, the main reason was the phishing. This phishing, phishing is not always about money. Always, it's sometimes sometimes patriotism, revenge, those kind of things. If you look at the recent Ukrainian campaign, Ukrainian geopolitical issue, these Ukrainian people were bombarded with a lot of phishing campaigns, and most of these phishing campaigns were basically sending some of the most destructive malwares in the form of attachments. So if you some of them were Whispergate, which was first spotted on January 30th. We again have this Hermetic Viper, which was first seen in 23rd of February. So all these Viper malwares, what the specialty of these malwares is that they completely wipes out your system. The complete OS will be taken out, and your system becomes unusable. So so if you look at the right side, you can see the screenshots from the computer emergency and response team from Ukraine, saying their emails, their public statements saying that there are this kind of campaigns going on, and people should be careful about it. So as once again, as I said, sometimes this phishing is not about money. It's sometimes about this revenge, patriotism, this kind of things. And if you look at the Ukrainian campaign, we can see that most of the campaigns were from Russia, Russian-based threat actors like APD28, Gamador, etc. Right, Spain of phishing. So what I'm going to explain in this slide is basically the difficulties the attackers face or phishers face when doing a campaign. So the first one is user awareness. As we all know, nowadays most of the companies give the users awareness on how to spot the phishing emails or malicious emails. So that's the first hurdles that these attackers face. The other one is time intensive. once an attacker sends out a phishing email, he's not quite sure about when the victim is gonna click it. So maybe he will click the link the next minute, maybe the next day, maybe a couple of days later. So it takes a lot of time and need patience. Another one is two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is a good solution for phishing. Is a good solution to prevent the phishing attacks. And most of the companies now have this two-factor authentication enabled, so it makes the phishing hard again. But from my experience, it makes the phishing hard, but it doesn't solve the issue of the phishing. If you look at the email defense, if you look at the email defenses that we have in place, like there is email sandboxing, there are attachment scanning, email antiviruses. All these kind of email defenses also make the phishing hard. But other factor is operational security of the phishing infrastructure. So we have to be very careful when we host this phishing infrastructure. Like we have to hide the IP address of our SNTP servers, like our domains we have to hide, so that the government doesn't comes back of us. We have to do things like block URL scanning. We have to change the IOCs in the change in the sense indicators of compromise. What it means is, like, once a phishing campaign is sent out, the security professionals, the defense the security professional who is working in the defensive side of the cybersecurity, they will somehow find a indicator of compromise for your email, and the next time when you use the same phishing tactics, you will be catched by the solutions, I mean security solutions. So every time you send a phishing campaign, you have to find some or other way to evade detections by changing your IOCs, right? The last one, art of persuasion. Persuasion in the sense, the art of convincing. As I said in the first, we have to be, your emails have to be very convincing. When it comes to spear phishing, you have to do a lot of research on the person's interest, and accordingly you have to make the email. If the email is not of that much convincing, even if the email lands in the victim's inbox, there is no surety that the victim is going to click the link. So the convincing part of this, convincing part of making an email is very important. All right, so let's see how the these fishers or these criminal people go for doing this. We will start with the reconnaissance. There are a couple of ways you can do reconnaissance. There are a couple of tools. We have this virus total, rocket reach, previous data breaches. Why I'm showing you this because spear phishing mainly is done using the email addresses. So these are some other platforms that will help you to get the email addresses of different companies. For example, maybe I will show you one example of the Airbus. Right. So this is virus total. If you go for the airbus.com, the details, you will get a lot of search results, and here is a space where you can see Google results for the this one, and in this area you will be able to get a lot of email addresses. Like, here is an email address of airbus.com. Here is an email address that's if you go into the third page, let's see whether there is any email address. Yeah, so there is a contact for Amber Wilson at airbus.com. Any other email addresses? let's go fourth page. There seems to be no email address in this page. Yeah, so here is an email address, safe command at the email airbus.com. We have e-learning. We have Joe's Terrio. We have Cameron, Donald, Michelle. So in this way, you will be able to figure out a lot of email addresses. I think you can also see how these email addresses are structured using the using what we using the rocket reach. That's Bloomberg. You can see that there's a lot of email addresses that's listing out. Yeah, so if you look at the rocket reach, you can see that Airbus uses two email formats. That's first.last@airbus.com and 100% sure. So if you go into LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a good platform to figure out most of the employees, and if you use this format, we can be able to figure out most of the email address for the airbus.com. So simple as it is. So this is just one method. As shown in my slide, there are a couple of Telegram group that also gives us a lot of emails. For example, we have something called as leak databases. They usually put a lot of databases, leak databases of different companies for sale, even for free. So for getting email addresses is not a it's not a big it's not a big task. Sorry. Yeah. Again, going into the defenses in use. So when an attacker go for phishing, he also looks for the kind of defenses that's in place, like whether they are having any kind of email filtering softwares or any kind of security solutions that is in place to prevent the phishing. So to get idea on that, this LinkedIn is a good the LinkedIn is a good platform. We can see that usually people say about the kind of technologies they work on through LinkedIn. For example, if you look at this example, he's a guy. This guy works in a company called Rebis, and and this kind of things he has worked on, like on KSA has worked on. He's worked on cell down equal. So from looking at his job description, we can get an idea that this kind of softwares or this kind of technologies are in use. Or if you look at the left side, you can see that sorry you can see that this is a post by an agency looking for people or with specific skills. So mostly when we same like this, the companies also post their description along with the kind of technologies that they are using. So this all will help the attacker to get a rough idea of what kind of technologies they are using within their infrastructure. Right. So the easy targets, usually the HR, marketing, and the finance are the most easy targets because they are less technically skilled people, and so these people always fall for this kind of phishing. So these attackers always go for mainly for these three departments. Right. So the infrastructure requirement. Infrastructure requirement, we need a lot of services in place, or a lot of technologies in place in order to come up with a phishing link. So starting with the domain and hosting. If you want your domain and hosting to be not to be not to be caught by the police or law enforcement, it's better you go for the DCM ignore, offshore hosting, because these people, DCM ignore or offshore hosting companies, usually they don't care for the law enforcement notices, or you can or go for the bulletproof hosting. They also doesn't care for the law enforcement. So that's one way. Another thing is always go for expired domains, because the expired domains will be having a good reputation. expert.net is a good website where you can buy expert domains. Also, make sure to buy some long domain names, which will confuse people. Another one is setting up of these protocols or technologies like SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and SSL. These are some of the technologies that help our emails to seem like legitimate. If you have implemented these technologies in your email server, what happens is your emails can clearly pass the spam filters and will directly reach the victim's inbox. Right. So always make sure that you have these things enabled when implementing the email servers. Again, SNDP servers. SNDP servers are the servers that send out the emails. So there are two ways. Either way, one way is either you can make your own SNDP server, or you can use third-party services like Mailchimp or SendGrid. From my experience, it is always better to go with making your own SNDP server, even though it takes a bit of pain. But there are a lot of advantages, like you can send unlimited number of emails, and those kind of things is possible. But when it comes to third-party services, there will be a lot of limitations. So it's better to go with always with your own email servers. SNDP servers. Email templates, either you can make it or you can build it. If you are buying it, make sure that it's unique, and for every campaign use a unique one. Redirection proxies, these are very important because this help to protect your identity. This will play as a mask, protecting your real infrastructure from the law enforcement. Phishing frameworks, there are free and paid ones. Some of the free ones are like GoFish, Phishing Frenzy are the free and the very famous one. In recent years, there has been a growth in the phishing as a service framework. So 16 shop and bulletproof links are some of the those kind of services which give phishing as a service, where you have to give it like a monthly subscription. Right. If you look at the right side, this AbleHost and Shinjiro are some of the best known and notorious, DCM, Ignore, bulletproof hosting services. Let's go to the demo side of the talk. So I think I should start with showing you a brief intro of how my infrastructure is made. So I'll start with the hosting, followed by the AWS and GoFish. Right. So for my talk, I have bought my domains from Hostinga. Let me log in. Right. So these are the domains that I bought. LinkedIn store and LinkedIn. I will be. What I'm going to do is I'll be doing a phishing on LinkedIn by faking the LinkedIn page and asking for the username and password. So previously, I planned to do it on Instagram, but what happened is today afternoon I got an email from the hostinger saying that my domains and emails are being blocked because of some malicious activity. So I had like a couple of hours before I went on with going on with buying another domain with the name linkedin.fund and these two domains, and this will be the linkedin.fund will be the email address with which I'll be doing my phishing. This will be the fake email address which will be dropping the phishing link. Right. The rest of my infrastructure is hosted in AWS. I have like 3 EC2 machines running, and this LinkedIn machine is where my phishing server is running. I have also configured a couple of other things like certificate manager. to get the HTTPS connection, HTTPS to my LinkedIn website, along with my route S3, which handles all the DNS traffic towards my phishing server. I also have a very basic level of OPSEC, which I have done with my load balancer. Right, so like I have a couple of like 4 load balancer, out of which this will be handling all my connection request. So this is my infrastructure. Let me now go to the Go Phish page. Right, so this is the Go Phish page, and I have hosted it here on this IP address with this and this is how the Go Phish looks like. Now if you go into the account settings, you can see that the sending profiles. I already have some templates already. I have done. I have already made it ready so that it won't give me confusions at the end. So for your knowledge, I will show some of the how to create a page. So this is the sending profile page. This is the page where we give all our SNTP information, like SNTP server that's being used, the username, password, and all those things is given in this page. Right. The landing page. This is the page that usually the victim get. The fake website is made using this page. What you can do is you can give some test names and you can import some website. If you give a URL of a website, it will completely import it will completely copy that website. Right. Email template. This is the page that this is which usually shows the content of the email. You can write whatever you want. Hi, please log in. So those kind of things comes into this page. So for every attack, make sure that you have your different email template. Right. Users and groups. This is the page that basically we basically use to add our victim's email address. Like you can add a test, and you can add either you can bulk import if you have a list of usernames and password email addresses, or you can manually add each username and password in these columns. Right. So if you look at my templates I have already created. So this is the fake page for LinkedIn. These are the contents of the SNTP server. I'm using hosting our SNTP server. This is the username. This is the email address that will be sending out the email. Right. Landing page for this one looks like this, something like so. So you can see that this is a LinkedIn page. This is complete the exact replica of the LinkedIn page. And if you go into that email template, you can see that this will be the content. It's in the HTML form. Once we do the campaign, you will be able to see the content. So this will be usually the content that you can see. That message saying that your account is logged from China. So it's a sample content, right? Users and groups. These are my victims' email IDs. I will be sending the phishing email to these 2 email addresses. Right. And the campaign is the page where we make the campaign. So this is the this is one of the victims email inbox, Gmail inbox. This one is for the other victims email inbox. So we have like 2 email inboxes, and let's do a campaign. Let's create a campaign. Let's give it ingredient 1. This URL is the URL of the phishing server. So for our case, the URL, this is the phishing server that I'm using. So that's the LinkedIn.store is the phishing server for me. I've selected the email template. Landing page, I also have selected it. Groups, let me go to the groups. Once you fill all those, those templates, user groups, email templates, landing pages, all those, that will automatically comes up when you create the campaign, right? So let me launch the campaign. Launched it, and this page will show you the results of the campaign. So if you go into the victims inboxes, we can see that you have received an email. Here also, if you refresh it, you can see that you have received an email, so saying that account login at LinkedIn.fund, but content of the email is like this: your account was loaded in from China. Please click and review the account. So if you click the account, what is going to happen? It is taking you to a fake LinkedIn page. If you look at the URL, you can see that it's a fake URL. And if you give your information, gmail.com, password, and you sign in. Right, so the email is sent. Let me see whether I have received it. Let me refresh it. Right, so if you look at the the attacker's page, you can see that someone has submitted a data. John has submitted a data, and if you go down, we can see that that's the username and password. Right, the same ways, if you this guy's email address, let's see what he has. He also received the same emails, and if you look at this, is you look at the link, that's a proper link, but when it goes to the fake email, fake URL. So that's again password 1 2 3, and sign in. Having issues, but right. So that's it. We again go to the dashboard and refresh it. You can see that the one has again submitted the username and password. Right, so that's the username and password. So right, so this is the demo site, and going back into the slides. Right, result validation, we saw it. Right, so the summary, what you have to understand is these attackers or the phishers always go with new tactics and techniques. So always make sure that if there are people in the stock from the IT side, make sure that you always are updated with the kind of the new things that's happening in the phishing domain, and not just yourself, also keep others updated. We have better security solutions like biometric and UTF that's in place. So instead of always going for the U2 2FA, if you have critical applications, always make sure that you have this biometric and you to have set up. But I have seen in a couple of banks where they use the biometric for authentication. So always even though there will be it costs a bit higher, it will save you at the end. Again, at the end, report. If you feel like if you have clicked a wrong email, a phishing email, make sure that you report it. Don't wait for your security teams or defense teams to come and ask to you whether that you have clicked the any link. So it's always better you go first and tell them that you have done it. So that's it for the talk. If any questions, you can see the references that I have made. Abbreviations here. Right. Any questions, please?
If you've got any questions, feel free to enter them in the question box. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kamal. That was I'd say, very interesting talk. I personally hadn't realised quite how easy it is to put together an attack and how to actually perform the attack. It's quite surprising.
Yeah.
It's quite not. No, it's not really surprised why you get so many phishing emails come through your inbox. Really.
Exactly.
Harvest information.
Right.
Yeah, how many
Exactly.
people fall for that?